Hurricane Hanna still causing issues for southern Texas, also now eastern Mexico, as the hurricane has been downgraded to a tropical storm, leaving close to 200,000 people in southern Texas without power, lots of flooding, lots of damage as well. There was a lot of coastal flooding and damage associated with this storm. We'll look into some of that, and also another invest that is showing 90% chance of cyclone formation, basically starting right where we saw Gonzalo start. This would be Hurricane Isaias or Tropical Storm Isaias if we reach that potential. Let's see where this thing's going. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's July 26th, Sunday, 2:28 p.m. And I had a few things going on the last day and a half, so I apologize for that. But we're back here to talk about Hanna and our new invest growing in the Atlantic Ocean pretty rapidly. As I'm sure many of you are already aware of what Hanna has done to Texas, we have close to 200,000 reported power outages between Corpus Christi, Laredo, and the Rio Grande Valley regions. That is all in the southern area of Texas where this storm actually made landfall around 5 p.m. yesterday. And although we could see that the storm is still clearly affecting the southern parts of Texas, even though it's kind of centered in Mexico at this point, it will continue to break up and actually scatter itself away from the southern Texas area, hopefully sooner than later for some people. I've been going through the internet a little bit trying to find some of these more important articles, and again, a lot of these articles have to do with the coastal issues. We were a Category 1 storm, 90-mile-an-hour sustained winds, so you can expect a 3 to 5 foot storm surge, and even something a little lower than that can do a lot of damage. People don't realize what just a foot or even 6 inches of extra water can do, especially to coastal areas that are already so close to the water. So definitely something I'm going to be keeping an eye on to see exactly what kind of damage we're doing or what kind of damage to expect. They haven't had the numbers yet as far as money-wise with this storm, as it's still kind of going on, but we will know firsthand when we find out exactly what Hanna cost the state of Texas in the long run. So just to give you a little bit of perspective on how powerful these storms are and exactly what they can do, even being small grade hurricanes or a tropical storm, people think that just because it's a tropical storm, oh, it's no big deal. That's a very big deal. And another big deal that we may be having to deal with sooner than later is this 90% chance of cyclone formation invest. This is invest 92L. This would be our 9th tropical depression, our 9th tropical storm, and in turn our 9th letter in the alphabet as we reach letter I. Isaias would be the name of this storm. And our early spaghetti plots showed this thing in the next 3 to 4 days crossing the Lesser Antilles Islands and kind of going a little bit north of where Gonzalo went. Remember, Gonzalo stayed south because of the high Bermuda pressure. Now, when I take you over to this chart, for example, I'm going to be able to show you exactly why the storm is coming up north a little bit, or why this storm is projected to come a little bit north. It's simply because the high pressure in the Bermuda Atlantic is letting loose and moving more to the western part of the Atlantic Ocean, allowing this gap to open up. And naturally, these storms, like we talked about, they want to go north. Just based on like inertia or the spin of the globe, they want to always go north, and the only thing stopping them are different high and low pressures going on around it. And the Bermuda Atlantic being a very high pressure, it's going to release along the east coast of the U.S., allowing the storm to begin to come up north, which is why we're tracking it towards Florida, and obviously before that, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Haiti, and then getting north of Cuba here. And earlier yesterday, some of these tracks took this thing dangerously close to Florida, but as you can see here, it's kind of changing a little bit, which is a good thing. This is actually good in the end. Because of the high pressure releasing sooner than we thought, this storm is going to be allowed to track north quicker, which may allow it to miss the East Coast altogether. We still have about 4 to 5 days before we really see exactly what trajectory this is going to take when it gets past like this area right here, Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. Once we get to about this area, we're going to have a really good idea about what the pressure in the Atlantic Ocean is doing, which will determine whether or not the storm flattens out and stays underneath Florida, or if it comes up and clips the east coast of Florida. Another way to get a decent idea about what to expect with these storms are the spaghetti plot graph charts, and this is one of them right here for Invest 92L, potentially tropical storm or hurricane Isaias. A lot of these models have this thing becoming a major hurricane, or right basically there, a category 3 or a high category 2. A lot of these models are beginning to reach into that area, and I'm starting to believe it too. A lot of this development is happening quickly. As we take a look at the radar chart of Invest 92L, we can already see that counterclockwise spin underneath the top layer color of these clouds here, which leads me to believe this thing may already be a tropical depression. When these storms are starting to group together like this, that's when we reach tropical depression status. They're going to have to go in there and measure the winds or use the instruments in the ocean if it's too far away to send the recon planes. They're going to determine whether or not this thing's a tropical depression, but by the looks of it, we're looking at our next tropical depression for sure in the Atlantic Ocean. Not to jump too much ahead, if you look at this invest here, we also have another wave coming off the west coast of Africa. So we're entering that time of the season, guys, where we could see literally wave after wave after wave of these storms, potentially hazardous tropical depressions, tropical storms, and then hurricanes, guys. This is when this stuff begins to happen. We've seen it before, and we're going to see it again. It's definitely a busy season, the busiest we've ever had up until this point in the month of July. We're just about in August, but we're already pushing our 9th storm, which is just unbelievable at this point. You can guarantee I'll be tracking this storm very closely, as well as the possible invest behind it. As we can see, this is potential storm Isaias right here. All the models kind of in agreement. Of course, we have some discrepancies within them. Over the next 3 to 4 days, we will be able to tighten that all together and get a much better idea about what this storm's going to do. Hopefully, you're going to do exactly what it shows besides the outcome for the islands here. Hopefully, it's going to come up and then be put out into the Atlantic Ocean and be a non-threat to the U.S. We just don't know yet, but nonetheless, guys, looking at our 9th possible storm of the Atlantic hurricane season in the month of July. I hope everyone is well. Thank you for being patient with me. If you have any questions or comments, you know what to do. They are down below. Thank you guys so much. I'll be back with another update shortly.